The moment you've all been waiting for. Hunter Hunter versus Jujutsu Kaisen. Without further ado, let's get into the madness. Senku, take it away. Thanks, Sonny. Alright, so before we get started, let me go ahead and premise this and say that both shows are great, okay? Both shows are amazing. The whole point of this show is that it's just my own personal opinion, okay? It's our own personal opinion with nothing, crazy. It's our own personal opinion. So, with that being said, though, one has to win over the other, okay? So, before we get started, let me go ahead and say this and say that both shows are great in their own right. I also want you to let me know down in the comments which one you like more, Jujutsu Kaisen or Hunter x Hunter, okay? And rank them from S tier to F tier, okay? And here are the categories to rank those things by. So, we got main character, plots, training arc, pretty important in Shonen, location, pacing, and fan base, okay? Those are the 6 categories. I want you to rank them from S tier to F tier in the comments down below. Let me know what you think, okay? So, without further ado, let's get into it, all right? First things first, we got main characters, okay? So, since Hunter x Hunter has Gon and Killua, I'm gonna have to do 2 characters for Jujutsu Kaisen, which I picked Megumi and Yuji Itadori, which makes the most sense in this aspect. I could have did Nobara, but I don't know. I think she's like more of a third wheel than she is a main character. Megumi seems like the mainest character other than Itadori, of course. So, with that being said, let's talk about main characters. Okay, so Gon and Killua starts first. So Gon and Killua, I enjoy their characters a lot. They balance each other when it comes to personality. They fit each other really well. They're really great friends. I love that, okay? Also, Gon's character it seems simplistic on the outside, but the cool thing that I like about Hunter x Hunter is that they don't just give you like that simplicity and that's it. You know what I mean? They kind of like force Gon to think to give his morality away, right? They kind of, not morality, but like kind of like the show kind of forces him to think about moral questions that he really wouldn't be thinking about at that age, but he has to because he wants to be a hunter. That's what he wants to do to find his father, right? He's forced into these situations and he has to deal with it, right? Same with Killua, but Killua's more, I guess, mentally prepared for stuff like this because of his upbringing and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of a good contrast of characters to have Killua and Gon be that way, right? So I like that about them. So I'm gonna give them an A. Okay, they get an A from me. Okay, great characters. There's a lot of dark undertones, especially towards the end of the anime. It's great. It's great. Okay. Then you got Yuji Itadori and Megumi. So Yuji is fine. I don't hate him. I think he's a pretty baseline character by himself. He works great with other characters. That's kind of like that Goku syndrome. Kind of like how Goku by himself is pretty fucking basic and pretty annoying, but like he works well with other characters. So that's what kind of Yuji is. He is a fine character by himself. He reminds me of like Ichigo a little bit, and that whole Ichigo mentality type thing. So he kind of like he's fine, but he bounces off Megumi really well, and other characters in the show, Nobara too. So that's why, I like that. So I'm giving them a B plus, just because they're not as great as Gon and Killua, but they have a lot of promise. Next, we got plot. So plot is the most important for me anyway, because I need to be able to get invested into these characters. Okay, so talking about invested, talking about plots. let's talk about Hunter x Hunter's plot. So Hunter x Hunter plot, pretty basic, right? Not basic. It's pretty interesting. I'll say Hunter x Hunter's plot is pretty interesting. Nothing too crazy. The basic plot is Gon wants to find his father. That's it. But at the same time, the way that they structured the story, the way that he structured the story, the mangaka, the way he structured the story, it helped. It's a good thing that his goal is so simple, yet so complicated because his father is the way he is. He left. He named his son after what he was gonna do when he was born. He said, "I'm gone, so your name is gonna be gone." Simple as that. So yeah. And then so I like that aspect. I like that it didn't feel basic. It felt complicated because the main character's father isn't just down the street somewhere. He's like a hunter. He seems really badass and all this stuff. I like that. So I give that a B. Right? I gave it a B because even though it is interesting, it's not transformative to me, but it is interesting enough for me to get invested in the story. That's why I like Hunter x Hunter. So for Jujutsu Kaisen, the plot of Jujutsu Kaisen basically is just Yuji has a demon inside of him and he needs to get it out, but the only way to get it out is to eat some fingers, of the demon that is inside of him. But they have to find the fingers first. That's the problem, right? So that becomes, a whole thing, and it's like a whole moral dilemma with it. It's interesting. It is an interesting premise. I like the premise. It's not perfect, but I do think it has a couple of things over Hunter x Hunter's. When it comes to plot, it has a little bit, it kind of feels much more intense. Like once the story starts and once Sukuna is inside of him, calm down. Once Sukuna is inside of Yuji, right? It kind of basically jumpstarts the story, and the story just keeps rolling. It just keeps going, right? And shit just happens. More shit just happening, and that makes it fun. I like that. So I'm gonna give it an A over Hunter x Hunter's B. So, training arcs. So for this one's pretty interesting. I do like both training arcs for different reasons, but I do think Hunter x Hunter's training arc is weaker than Jujutsu Kaisen's training arc. I say that because, I think we all can agree that the Greed Island training arc was kind of tedious. Didn't really need to be there, but, it served a purpose, and the purpose was served. Was it interesting? Not really. Until you got after that whole training arc with Bisky, and they started actually, doing stuff, fighting people and stuff. That's when it got interesting. But that was after the training arc was over, pretty much. So, yeah. And the training arc in Jujutsu Kaisen was pretty fast. It was pretty quick. Literally the training arc, and the training arc was interesting in Jujutsu Kaisen because he literally just watched TV and had to keep this thing from punching him in the face. You know what I mean? So I think that's funny and also very useful, or not useful, much more incentive to do the training arc, right? Because if he didn't do the training arc, if he didn't train, if he didn't get better at that, he literally would have gotten punched in the face over and over again. So I feel like that's a good reason to train. So yeah, I think that was pretty cool. So I would give Hunter x Hunter a B, and I'm gonna give Jujutsu Kaisen an A, just because Jujutsu Kaisen had a little bit. It was more interesting to see Jujutsu Kaisen's training arc than it was to see Hunter x Hunter's the whole way through. So locations. Locations is next. So locations is fun because I like the both locations, but I do think Hunter x Hunter has way better locations, way better. So I'm giving Hunter x Hunter an A, not S, because nothing is an S really, if I'm being honest, because S is like perfect, and it's not perfect, but it is way better than Jujutsu Kaisen's locations. Locations of Jujutsu Kaisen is literally just like 3 places off the top of my head, you know. But we got in Hunter x Hunter, we got like 5 different places they go to in the first like arc. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's way better locations and more cooler. The world building is a lot cooler in Hunter x Hunter than it is in Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen gets a C in locations because they all locations pretty much look the same. A bunch of buildings off the top of my head, and you got like a sewer part that wasn't that interesting, and you got, you know, obviously Hunter x Hunter, which is an A. Okay, so yeah. Next we got pacing. So pacing is interesting one because Jujutsu Kaisen's pacing is good. It's good. It works. It keeps moving along. Nothing is slow. It doesn't feel slow. I feel like it is pretty much the idea that they took what the old shows didn't do didn't do perfect, or they just kind of perfected what the old shows didn't do, right? So that's what kind of, it feels like Jujutsu Kaisen's kind of culmination of all the cool shonens and made it into like the most shonen of shonens. Also includes Black Clover too. Hunter x Hunter, on the other hand, I feel like Hunter x Hunter's pacing is kind of slow sometimes, but when it gets hype, it gets hype and shit is happening. But for the most part, the part like the Greed Island arc, pretty slow. Other than that, that was pretty much the main one that I really didn't feel. The pacing was kind of lackluster on that one, but overall the pacing was fine in Hunter x Hunter. So Hunter x Hunter, I'm gonna give Hunter x Hunter a B in pacing, and I'm gonna give Jujutsu Kaisen an A in pacing. Next, we got the fan favorite, fan base. Okay, so fan base. This one is interesting because I can't really say that both. I'm not gonna say that both fan bases are S tiers because there's not really much of a fan base for Jujutsu Kaisen, at least from what I'm seeing. There's a fan base, but it's kind of like they're not vocal about it. You know what I mean? People aren't really vocal about how much they like Jujutsu Kaisen, unless it's like, you know, I'm simping for Nobara or some shit, which I do. I am a simp for Nobara. Okay, I can't. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. She bad as fuck. I'm just saying. Okay, her and Maki and. Don't get me started, okay? Anyway, so, fan base. I'm gonna give Jujutsu Kaisen an A, and I'm gonna give Hunter x Hunter an S, because Hunter x Hunter's fan base is so patient, they're so understanding with the author, and he's like having a lot of complications with his health and stuff, and it's pain. You know, it's pain to be a Hunter x Hunter fan, because we're just waiting patiently waiting for them to animate the rest of the manga. Like, that's all I'm asking. That's all we're asking. Just please, give us Hunter x Hunter. Finish the fucking show. Please. I mean, the manga's not even finished. But at least try to pick up where, you know, try to finish the rest of the manga from what he did do, you know? Like, I don't know. But granted, you know, the manga isn't perfect either because there's a bunch of speech bubbles and shit, so, but still. Okay. Yeah. So, what do you think about that? Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about my ranking of these two shows. Also, let me know if there's any other characters that or any other shows that I need to put against each other, or head to head in these, because I gotta figure these out, because it's kind of hard, because I didn't know what to do for this one, because I didn't want to do Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball would have been kind of there's no other show that I really can like compare it to per se, because Dragon Ball is just that OG. I could do Yu Yu Hakusho, but I don't know. I feel like they're kind of two different shows, but we could do it. I just haven't watched the Yu Yu Hakusho though. I haven't watched it, so I need to watch Yu Yu Hakusho first. Okay, so give me some time. Okay, I might actually like space these out more instead of doing like on a weekly basis. It kind of like do like a maybe like a monthly basis or something, the first of the month or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget, check out the links in the description. Check out I was gonna say check out the merch, but this isn't merch, but I do have merch. Link in the description. Go check it out. All right, see y'all next video. Peace.